Hey, this is Todd Baginski. Thanks for watching my YouTube video. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I use the Power Platform to grow the lacrosse program at my son's school. Now, whether you're doing this for lacrosse or hockey or basketball or soccer, boys or girls, or even a non-sports community, this approach can come in helpful for you. So, grab your lacrosse stick, buckle up your helmet, and let's go have some fun. There's a fun picture of me and the boys last year after a tournament, and I certainly wasn't thinking about Power Platform at that point in time, but since that moment, there's been a lot of Power Platform goodness that I've put into the program to really help grow it in the off season. And what I think that's really neat about it is, although I come from a coding background, and that's what I learned how to do in college, you don't have to learn how to write any code to do what I'm about to show you, and how you can grow your community, whether it's lacrosse or not, with the Power Platform. So as I set out to do this, everyone likes scoring goals, right? Well, we also have some goals for our solution here. So what were the goals that I set out to accomplish? The goals were to make it easy to distribute information about the lacrosse program to potential players in grades 1 through 8. And so I needed a consistent way to do this. I needed a way to do it where it could be electronic, because that's the easiest way to distribute things nowadays too. So I was looking for a cross maybe between how can I send something home with the kids from school and electronics to make it easy to get that information. I also wanted to make it very easy to update the information in the future. What happens next season if we have new rules or new things the program has to offer? Well, we'd like to be able to communicate those within the same system next year to potential players as well. I also wanted to make the solution mobile friendly. One thing I've learned as a youth lacrosse coach and any just youth sports coach in general is your interaction with players and their parents. Many times their parents are on the move and they're using tools like Team Snap and other mobile apps to communicate with you. So I wanted to make it very easy for people to communicate and learn about the lacrosse program in a mobile format. I also wanted to make the process very simple and automatic. The way that the process used to work is that if a parent was interested, they would tell another parent, and then they would try to get the coach's number and call them up and learn about it. I wanted to make it so that it was so automatic. Nobody had to find the coach. You could just go to a website and immediately find everything you needed to know out about the program. And then if you had questions, it would also have the contact information to talk to somebody, perhaps the coach, to get your questions answered. Down the road, I have a goal to integrate with Team Snap. Team Snap is a tool that we use to communicate schedule and other information to everyone on the team. And so my goal is that next year, when someone expresses interest after they've expressed interest and gone through the flows you're about to see, I'd like to make another flow to just put their player right into Team Snap, so they were in with team communications, single click. That was a fun tournament right there. You're looking at the Mason Fall Brawl last year. Okay, so how did I do the solution for this? Well, the entire solution is built on Microsoft Office 365 and Power Platform. Pro developer skills are not required to implement this solution, as I mentioned. It's all a low-code solution. So what does it look like? Well, here you can see I have my Office 365 tenant. Inside of that, I have a Power Platform environment. And in this solution, I'm using Power Automate flows. I also am using Exchange to send emails, OneDrive to store PDF documents, and Forms to collect information. So if we look at the flow on how the whole solution works, it's like this. I created these lacrosse flyers here to advertise throughout school. Hey, play lacrosse. That's the whole idea here. You can see I made one for the boys program on the left and the girls program on the right. You'll also notice that they have QR codes right here too. And these QR codes that I created on the lacrosse flyers, they lead people to open a Microsoft form. So we send the flyers home in the backpacks with all the kids, grades 1 through 8. They get home, they talk to their parents about it, they say they're interested, mom and dad scan the QR code, up comes the Microsoft form. They fill out the Microsoft form. Very simple. I didn't ask for a ton of information. Remember, I want this to be mobile and fast. So it's, I'll show you in a bit the form itself, but it's very simple. I don't ask for a lot of information in the form. So they fill out the QR code, they fill out the form, and the next thing is they put their contact information in the form. And after they do that, when the form is submitted, a Power Automate flow is going to send an email to those parents, and it's going to attach a PDF document I've created and put into OneDrive. The PDFs contain all the information about the lacrosse program in our upcoming season. For example, when do we practice? When are games at? What equipment do you need? How many games are there? Do we practice on spring break? All these important things parents need to know. So after they do that and they send that information to the parents, separate Power Automate flows also send emails to notify the youth lacrosse director, yours truly, and another lady who does the girls' side of the program. And they tell us that the parent is requesting that information. So at this point, we've given that information to them. We can update it very easily by going to the OneDrive and changing our PDF. And we can also come into the flow itself and modify the text that goes out in the email too. And so as you can see, it just all starts with the QR code, and everything behind the scenes is completely automated to give everyone the information they need about this particular community. So now it's game time. Let's see a demonstration of this functionality, and I give you a tour of all the solution artifacts. First, I'm going to walk you through it and just show you how it works end to end. And then I'm going to come back through it and dive in deep and put it in edit mode and show you the different configurations and things I made under the hood to build this. The idea is at the end of this video, you can follow along and just tailor this to your needs and grow your community too. So I hope you enjoy it, and thanks for watching. All right, so let's start right from the beginning and see how this works. So this flyer that you're looking at here gets print out and sent home with the kids, as I mentioned, and it has that handy QR code on it there. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring my phone into view. See that window on the right here with my mouse moving around on it? That's my phone. I'm holding that in my hand here at home, and I'm going to aim it at the QR code. And now I can click Show Options and Open Link. And this will now open that form right there in the web browser on my phone. So I'm going to pause the video and fill that form out real quick. Excellent. So now I've filled out the form. I scroll back up to the top of it to show you just kind of how the content fits in here. We'll see how we author that in just a second. But this is the top of the form with my header, describes the information about it. And then here we've got the new player information. So we have a new player signed up, Gary Gate Jr. That's pretty exciting. If you follow lacrosse, you know what I'm talking about. And so his dad would be Gary Gate. I put in my email address. That way I can show you the emails that are sent out, but it'll look like it was addressed to Gary. And the phone number there, as well as, are you interested in help coaching in any capacity? Yes. And then the comments Airgate. I suggest you go check that out. Gary Gate's one of the most amazing lacrosse players of all time. So now the parent hits submit and fills out their form, and now the goodness in the behind the scenes is now going to start kicking off in those flows to send the various emails. So I'm going to now walk you through all these different emails that get sent. The first one that I receive looks like this. It is actually from Microsoft Forms itself. I turned this on as a feature in Microsoft Forms to just say somebody submitted it. It gives me a link to go see the details if I want. The next thing is that you will also get, if you create it, an email that looks like this. And I'm going to show you how I made this one. This is where I started. I just wanted to make a very, very simple thing that showed me how I could get the data from the flow and then put it here into an email. And so I use this for debugging purposes. Okay, and then the next email that I'm showing you now, this is the one that really does go out to people who submit the form, to the parents. And so this is the polished one, not used for debugging. You can see in both the to and the CC line, my name is there. I put the to in to demonstrate I can send it to myself from the form because I don't have Gary Gates' email account. And then in the CC, you'll notice I also put myself there. So anytime a parent does get notified, I get notified on this exact same thread with them, and I find that helpful when they reply to it. You'll notice there is a file attachment that has been put on here. It is a PDF file. This PDF file contains all the information about our season and the different things that are in it. It's essentially the slide deck that I created and we use to start our meeting at the beginning of the year. So it really has everything everybody needs to know about the lacrosse program and everything we do there. Designed to answer all the questions we can up front. But if they do have more questions, as you can see in the email here, do provide my contact information so that they can get right back at me. The neat thing to point out is not only do we have a file attachment here, we have a nicely formatted email, we have bolds, we even have cool fun emojis like the lacrosse stick and ball down here and a smiley face. So as you can see, you can really personalize this and make it fun when you send out this information as well. So at this point, now the parents, it's on them, right, to get back to us, sign up, and then we can onboard them in if it looks like a good sport for them. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how I built this entire thing, and that is really easy to do. As I take you through the explanation of how to build this, I'm going to do it pretty much in the same order that I demonstrated how it works. So let's start with the flyer. To build the flyer, I went to this website called canva.com, and I was able to build this with a free account. So here you can see the same flyer I demonstrated and where I scanned that QR code from. All I had to do was upload some pictures and then start putting content on the page. When I got that done, I just clicked the share button you see up here in Canva, and I exported it as a PNG file. I also exported it as a PDF. You can share it any way you want and print it out however you like. So what happens next, right? They got the flyer, they scanned the QR code. How did I make the QR code? I went to a website called QR Code Generator, and it comes to us from the folks at Bitly. And so I came in here, click the button to create a new QR code, and when you do that, it walks you through a very simple wizard. It says, what type do you want? I set a link to a page on the web. I pick next, and here's where I put in the URL to my Microsoft form. Now here's my Microsoft form. To make my form, I went to forms.microsoft.com and I clicked New Form. When I click New Form, it's very simple. I put in the title of my form up top here, and then I put in the description underneath. I picked purple because our school colors are purple. That one's a little more advanced than the one I pick. Actually, I think what I did was I left that one like this, and then I came down here, if I remember right. Nope, not an image search. This one, hex color, and I put in our school purple color there. You can also pick View All, like I just did in that spot, and then pick even more purples down here. Different layouts, things like that. So once you get the basic color of your form done, put in your title, your description, and then hit Add New. If you would like to put in a text one, for example, I put in player name right here. That's it. Click Add New. Now this could be, do you want to coach? And that you may say, they could type in anything here. That might be not the best choice. Maybe instead, I'll give them a choice and I'll say, do you want to coach? Now I can give them different options, and it's kind of inferring what I want. Yes, no, maybe. I'll pick yes and no. And so now I have those two options. If I want another one here, yes, but only on Thursdays. Maybe someone can only make it one time and they want to help, but I really doubt that option would be available to everybody. But as you can see, you can add your own custom options. When you're done with this, you can hit the preview button and see exactly what your form looks like. So let me take you over to the form that I created. Here it is in edit mode. Notice here's that title, here's the description, and then I just put in all these fields. The same ones I showed you on the phone. When you're ready with it, as I mentioned, you hit preview, read it over. Yep, this looks cool. I'm ready to roll. I'll hit back. I'm ready to collect responses. So I'm going to hit collect responses. You can shorten this URL up if you click this checkbox, or you can copy the link right as it is. If I shorten the URL up like that, it looks shorter. Obviously, Microsoft's got that nice capability to do that. So then I can also pick who can respond. Maybe I just want to target it at people inside my Microsoft 365 organization and tenant, or specific people within them. In my case, it's anybody. Anyone on earth can fill this form out. So now that they've come in here and I've got that, I can go back to my QR code generator. I can put in that URL and hit next, and that's it. I've got a QR code. So it opens it up. I pick whichever style I want. I say I don't want that little part on the bottom, or maybe I do want any of these cool things. In my design, I don't have any of these things in my first iteration, so this is how I did it. So what I did then is I took a screenshot of this. You can also download it, but I just took a screenshot of it, and then I pasted that screenshot into Canva right here. Or you could download it and then upload it to Canva and put it right in there. But that's how I got my QR code in here. And that is all ready to go. And so now the easy parts, I think those are considered the easy parts because they're just a little less complex than what we're about to do with pulling in the response once someone fills out the form and sending the email. So we've got that part done, and now someone can scan this form. They can hit that QR code, or they can scan the QR code, and they can go to this form and fill it out. So now that they can do that, the next step is let's go upload that image, that file attachment. You know, I showed you that PDF I attached to the email that I sent to the parents. So what I do there is I go to OneDrive and I just go to a folder I made called Attachments, and then I uploaded, there is the PDF, that same one that we saw that was in the email. And so I just put that in here and I've got it ready to go. So now I'm going to come back to the flow, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a flow to respond to that form being filled out. So I talked about the very simple version of the email that I received that I used for debugging, right? And I'm going to show that to you again right now to refresh your memory. This one right here. I just sent this one to myself when someone submitted the form, and I just sheerly sent, this is the data that came in it. I wanted to make sure I could get it to myself. So I'm going to close that one. That is this flow here at the bottom that does that. So how did I make this flow? I'm going to put it in edit mode, and then I can show you. So my trigger is when a new response is submitted from a Microsoft form. So if you would look for that when you're making it, there's a button to add a trigger. You would just type in when a new response is submitted and look for this forms logo and select it. And then this pops in. Then all you have to do is do your drop down, and this is all of the forms that you've created. You'll notice I have 1, 2, 3, 4. If I come back to Microsoft Forms and I look at all my forms, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 forms. So you can see that I have my forms in there. Anything you make, as soon as you make the form, it's automatically available here. Easy peasy. So just pick your form. The next thing is go click the button that says insert a new step, pick add an action, and type in get response details, just like this for the form. So you can say get response details, just like that. And then you can see there it is for Microsoft Forms. So all you have to do is pick it. I'm going to close it because I've already got it in here. And once you pick it and add it in, again, pick that same form from the drop down. After you do that, put your mouse in here, come down to dynamic content and pick response ID. After you've done that, now you're ready to send the email. Then what you're going to do is you're going to click this button again. You're going to select add an action and you're just going to type in send an email. Then you pick Office 365 Outlook V2. Maybe there's a V3 by the time you watch this video. I don't know. But V2 I know works. So that's what I used with this video, and that's the latest right now. So send an email V2 pops up. Who are you going to send it to? Remember, this is my simple debugging debugging email that looks like this. I'm planning on sending it to myself. So I typed in myself, I put in the subject, and then I just started typing. Someone submitted the information form. Here's the details. I typed in parent : space, and then down here I click add dynamic content. Now look at from get response details. Get response details is the name of this action right here. So it means that these things are coming out of this action. That's great. Look at all the things I've got. I've got every single field in the form. So what I did is I just put in some text to tell me what I was about to emit, and then I clicked on each one of these dynamic content one at a time. Back and forth until I had them all in there. When it's all done, I click save, and then I go fill out my form. And I made sure it worked, and it did. You can also just test it right here too. So after I had that email going, I said, all right, cool. Now I know I can craft a really good email that I can have sent out to really whoever submits it. And I could make this email that I'm showing you right now. And I can also attach this file. So let's learn how we can do that part. So I'm going to close this one, go back to my flows. This one at the top, boys form autoresponder, that's the one that generated the pretty email. The steps at the top are exactly the same. When a new response is submitted from this form, get the response details from this form. Then here's the new one. Get file content. This is how I'm going to go get that file attachment, this PDF that I put in OneDrive right there. So to do that, add a step, add an action, get file content. I did not rename them. That way it made it easy for you to see this. In this case, it's in my OneDrive for Business. You could get it from other places too, like SharePoint. But I just find it easiest to get it from OneDrive for Business because that's the account I'm logged in with here. So what do I do after I add it? It's so easy. You just pick the picker. The root means the very start of your OneDrive. Then here's the different directories or folders in my OneDrive. As I showed you, it's in this one called Attachments. So I pick Attachments, and there's the 3 files. Now I pick the PDF file. That's it. Easy peasy. I've got a hold of that file now and I can do something with it, like send our email. So the exact same thing with send an email, but now check it out. I've got a little bit more dynamic content. The 2 is actually from that get response details. This is the parent email address. That's why I asked for it, so I could send it back to them, this content. I even put my fun emoji inside of my subject here. For those of you who may use this for a sports team, you may find that helpful. I've just become a habit of doing this. I find it easier for myself to spot all the emails I send about it in my own inbox, and hopefully the idea is I'm making it easier on the parents to dig this info out at a glance too. I also put their first name here from the form. I just clicked in there, picked dynamic content, and then selected parent first name in here somewhere. There it is. Where is it? There it is, parent first name right there. So that's how I got that one in there. And then I just drafted the content. If I want something bold, I just use the editor like that. change it, get it all how you want, and then when you're done, hit save. So again, to test it, all you have to do then is fill out the form and watch it fire and work. So after it does work, if you haven't ever done this in Flow before, you'll see this spot down at the bottom. How did I get to this again? If you go back to your flows, which is make.powerautomate.com, and then click this right there, My Flows, Cloud Flows, then come into your flow. And after you come into your flow, you have this run history on it. So we can see when I ran it. If you click the run history, it's really cool. It will allow you to actually come in here, and if you open up Get Response Details, you can see the exact information right there. That's the one that I typed in on my phone. So whatever someone types in, all that data is right there, and then you can actually watch how all these things worked and got to the end. And if they all have these nice little green circles with a check mark, that shows you it worked. If it didn't work, you'll see it failed like this. So when that fails, you can come in here as well, and you can see what happened and click that and go in to check. So what I did to cause this to happen was I typed in an email address at someone at a different company that I don't have the right to send email on their behalf. I put it in as the email address to trigger this error, to help you, show you how you could come in and possibly troubleshoot these things. The other thing that I would like to show you about the flows is that if we look at the more robust email that I sent, the advanced options area here allows you to also specify who it came from, who you would like to carbon copy, who the reply to is, and then the magic part I didn't talk about at the very end yet. How do you get that attachment in there? So for the file attachment, all you have to do is open up that advanced options like I did, give it whatever file name you want. It doesn't have to match the name of the file in your OneDrive. Then click down here in Attachments Content, and in the Dynamic Content area, open that, and you'll see the Get File Content action. Remember that one up here? That's the one where we picked which file we wanted. So you'll go down Attachments Content, pick File Content. It just will drop it right in there for you. I'm not quite sure why it renamed it this time versus last time I did it, but if we actually put our mouse over it, we can see the code underneath the hood here. This one is looking at the body, Get File Content, and this one is looking at the exact same thing. So not sure why it looked a little different when I dropped it in here the second time on the example, but nothing you need to worry about there or take note of. And that's it. So now you're done. You've got your autoresponder ready to go, and you're sending out all that information, making it very easy for everyone, including yourself. And you can also go back to the debugging one that I talked about, the one that I initially made just so I knew that I could get this working. You can come back to that one when you're done and just turn it off. And I also showed you how I got that automatic email that came to me from Microsoft Forms, right? And so that is the one that looked like this right here. And so how did that one get turned on and off? I'll show you that too. If we come back to the form and we come up here and we go into the settings, when you come down to the very bottom here, get email notification of each response. That's what triggers that one on. So I already know because I'm copied on the emails that come out with the other one, so I don't need this one on anymore. But as you initially create this form, and then before you've ever hooked it into anything and you submit it, this can be a very helpful thing to do to make sure that it is working. I think that covers all the pieces of the puzzle. Wait, I can think of one more. On the QR code generator site, I recommend using a site like this and getting an account and logging in. And the reason I recommend that is because when you do that, you can come back to these QR codes over time and you can update the URL they go to. That way, if you've got a flyer put together like this and you have a bunch of copies you made, you don't have to make a new QR code for next year if you change which form you use to collect the information. So you can save some paper and some money on that and not have to worry about updating this design or which flyer did somebody get, hope they didn't get the old one, things like that. So I hope this helps you build up your community too, and you enjoy making a lot of fun for whoever you're building a community with. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you next time.